Hey UConn Nation, it's KK Arnold here. If you're looking for the latest UConn women's basketball content, go subscribe to Listen Up to Phil and Ryan. Go Huskies!
Phil and Ryan, listen up live from beautiful Miami. Ryan, I only have one thing to tell you before we dig deep into this podcast today. Well, first of all, thank you for joining me on this Friday. I want to shout out to Alston for traveling down with me. Hey, we're getting ready to hit the flight, but I know I needed to shout out to you before we go to Miami Airport. Look, the thing is, I get it. I get it now. I know why this is your number one state, and I'll say no more. Smile all you want. Look, they do it a lot different down here, man. The partying at nighttime is just, oh my goodness. So anyway, it's a perfect setting. I want to shout out to KK Arnold again. Had her own very own spotlight on her on ESPN. I got a page while I was down here. Beautiful article. If you haven't read it, go check it out. But Ryan, not more important than KK, but I feel like that this was very fitting. This morning I woke up and I didn't realize, shout out to ESPN's Michael Vopel and Miss Alexa for bringing us this news. 100 days until the women's college basketball season tips off. All right. And I felt like that was a perfect way to end this vacation and get us back into the mood as we almost flipped the calendar to August. So, Ryan, I went over a couple things on this article. And again, as I always turn to you to see what you tell me, I had thought about Aubrey Griffin not being talked about enough because one of the biggest names for the UConn Huskies coming back from injury are AZ Fudd, right? And then you
Yeah.
slide over to the Player of the Year candidates, Paige Bueckers, no surprise. Freshman to watch, Sarah Strong. And then under the transfers to watch, Caitlin Chen. So I asked Ryan on this Friday morning, what surprises you the most on this list? And again, I don't think it's no surprise to you or any of our subs, anybody watching this. This is a, mind you, this is a national article in the spotlight, and UConn is mentioned in almost every category.
Yeah, it was I mean it's definitely not surprising. Of course, we are always grateful to always be mentioned. I'd say around here in Husky Nation, it's pretty nice to be mentioned in a lot of articles and get a lot of the spotlight. But yeah, kind of hard to believe only 100 days away from tip off. All season's gone by pretty quick, I'd say. It doesn't seem possible that it's almost August already. A lot of storylines, of course, and the big ones, obviously, South Carolina, right? They went undefeated last season, defending national champs. Is it possible they go undefeated again, and run it back and go back to back? There's a couple teams, of course, and of course one of those are UConn Huskies who might challenge UConn or might challenge the Gamecocks and give them a run for their money. USC, UCLA, Texas. Notre Dame also hoping to challenge South Carolina for the championship. Of course, the transfer portal, coaching carousel were in full effect again. Our Huskies benefited from getting Princeton guard Caitlin Chen. We're expecting pretty big things out of her. Reagan Beers went to Oklahoma. USC, possibly the biggest winners, picking up Talia Van Olahoffen and Kiki Arifin. Kentucky stole Virginia Tech's coach and star player. Georgia Moore, UCLA grabbed three big-time players to stay level with conference foes USC. And for the coaches, of course, we saw Tara Vanderveer and Lisa Bluter retire. Kate Pay filled Stanford's spot. Jen Jensen filling in at Iowa. And Tennessee surprisingly signed new coach Kim Caldwell. Kenny Brooks giving or going to Virginia Tech to Kentucky. Megan Duffy joining Virginia Tech. So a lot of changes as always during the off season, and we can't forget about the conference shuffles as well. Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC, ACC welcoming Stanford, California, and SMU, Oregon, Washington, USC, and UCLA all joining the Big Ten. Not sure how I feel about that one. Four West Coast teams joining a conference full of the East Coast teams. So that one should be pretty interesting. And finally, the Big 12 also getting four teams: Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, and Colorado. So Definitely a lot of changes and a lot of exciting storylines to look forward to. But I think that the one I'm most excited for, staying now with our Yukon Huskies, is the Player of the Year candidate. Now that Caitlin Clark is gone, she won it back-to-back years. Expecting really, really big things out of Paige for her last season. So I'm really looking forward to hopefully Paige Bueckers winning National Player of the Year.
Yeah, and as we like to say, she will do whatever it takes to get that unfinished business completed, and hopefully we see it this year. I think 1 year eligibility left, right, Ryan? But I think she will pretty much declare for the. I think she will go into the WNBA draft next year. I think we can all agree on that. And I think you do too. Let's go over to some comments very quickly, and then we will head on out, Ryan. UConn Huskies land another former player on ESPN's top 100 list. Jason D'Amico said 30 cycles around the sun is a great age to be young, man. Happy birthday. DT was and is a force to be reckoned with. I do not always agree with her methods, but her greatness is undeniable. Congrats to her. Have a safe trip, Phil. Peace.
Yeah, definitely undeniable. You can't question her greatness at all. Looking forward to seeing Team USA. Obviously, talked about it a little bit in that video, but the Olympics getting really, really close. I know the soccer kicked off the other day. The USA women got a win, I believe. But yeah, getting really close to seeing that Team USA women compete. So that's really exciting. But yeah, Diana Taurasi definitely. But possibly, like we said, what one of the greatest players possibly of all time to play the sport.
And shout out to everyone who came through with the birthday wishes. I really do appreciate that a lot. Let's go over to one more. Ryan Lindsay Matthews say, yes, Phil, Diana Taurasi is number one, especially here in Connecticut. She was out there kicking butt before any other female college basketball player. We love Diana. We are so lucky to still be able to watch her and to hear her spicy quips.
Yeah, and a lot of players look up to Diana. Obviously, Caitlin Clark is one of those players that came into the league and has said she looks up to Diana Taurasi quite a bit. I'm sure there's a lot of other players that grew up watching Diana, and of course, are grateful enough to now be playing in the league and be playing either with her or against her. So it's a pretty special thing to see that she's still out there doing her thing at the age of 40 plus now, 42, I believe. Quite incredible that she's still out there doing her thing and still competing at a pretty high level.
They're all so great. I got to read two more very quickly. Miles said, happy birthday, Phil. At age 30, I've got 52 years and a month on you, so don't complain too much now. Great show you and Ryan have going. I love KK, so keep her on the tape.
Yeah, getting pretty close, hopefully, to that interview. So I know we're definitely looking forward to that. Should be a really good one. Of course, like you mentioned, got the article. We think we're like 2 months ahead of the curve on that article, talking about how KK can expand her role this season. Hopefully, she can develop into more of a leader, more of a voice on this team. So definitely expecting a lot of big things also out of KK this season.
How about one more, Ryan? This one, Randy said, happy V-Day. I bet you won't be wearing that sock on your head down south. It is 109 where I am at today also.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it probably it probably was pretty warm down there in Miami. I can only imagine the humidity since it's pretty warm up here. But yeah, down south it's a little different down there.
All right, Ryan, Miami, the perfect place to party and soak up the sun. Both boxes have been checked. You can bet that. And Ryan, my man, I'm on the way back to you. Here I come, Maryland. Phil and Ryan, listen up.